What's up and welcome back? I'm John Starr from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to be reviewing Daughters. It's the John Mayer song. Fathers, be good to your daughters. Yeah, I really like the song. I'm going to give it an A+. plus. Well, that was a short review, so thanks for coming. And, it's also a movie. Daughters is now a movie. It's a documentary. It's on Netflix. It has audio description done by International Digital Center, and I I noticed the timing of this. This was released in like August for Netflix. Like I think maybe it was like July, August. It was basically released around the same time that A24 was releasing Sing Sing. So I think they're hoping that that goes well. Anyway, for my blind audience, I've got a black baseball cap on backwards, and I'm wearing a Batman shirt. So it's just a black shirt with the Batman logo on it, and I have my sunglasses on like I usually do. So, what is this documentary about? It's about a program that connects fathers who are incarcerated with their daughters, and they have to go through like a little bit of class and talk about parenting and work through some of their emotions so that they're not. It isn't just like immediately pair them. It's not like, hey, are you a dad? You have a daughter? All right, let's no, it and so everybody who's presented in this seems like um, fairly presentable folk. They obviously, you know, there's a lot that could be said about our current prison complex system and the fact that it's we're running for-profit prisons. Uh, Obviously, a lot of stories come out every time that we have power failures during storms and people are stuck in prisons that are like 120 degrees, or COVID. Another example of it sucks to be in jail, and I know that the argument is, well, they did something to be there. I would say for this documentary, I approach like every documentary. I'm like, tell me your story. What is your story? And so the story here for Daughters is there's a program and it's great and we want you to know about it. And that's the story we're going to tell. And we're going to try to paint this program in the best light possible. And I think the program is incredibly rewarding and the program probably does great things. I think when you take people who are in there, especially people who are in there for like minor offenses and have probably bullshit reasons for being there in the first place. I think like low level possession charges should not be imprisoned, but that's just me. I think, yeah, we're putting too many people in jail for simple possession drug charges, but so keeping those people connected with their families is important. And these kids, it's scary to go visit your dad in jail and to kind of have some sort of situation where you can make that like any less scary because these kids didn't do anything. This little 5-year-old girl didn't do shit. Shouldn't. Whatever the dad did shouldn't do it. So yeah, it's a very human issue that they're exploring here, and they explore it in a way that kind of takes out other factors, which I kind of noticed. So, like, I realize I'm checking my privilege here. I know what I look like. I know who I look like, and I'm gonna avoid topics that I probably should not be speaking on. So I've given enough of my thoughts on the prison complex system, and the bullshittery of it. I had a friend that was in jail for 7 years, but yeah, it's seeing these guys. There were a couple of things that I noticed, and there were things that support my idea that this is less about the people and more about the program. And one of the things is it doesn't really go into detail about what the guys are there for. So, uh, and they later on they try to pull out the like 1 year later, like where are they now? And you see that some of them who were sort of still waiting to be sentenced have been sentenced and got rather long sentences. I think one guy gets 30 years, which is like, my God. But I'm glad he had that time with his daughter because she's going to probably be a parent by the time he gets out. So, it's he'll be a grandfather by the time, Uh, but we don't really, I mean, there's a lot of remorse that's being shown, a lot of conversations, I understand there are a lot of people involved in the program, and you don't necessarily have the time to go through all of it. It's the kind of thing that a documentarian would probably want to explore, would be to sit down and talk with these people and be like, so what did you do? And how does this affect your family? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking about like the parallel I to January 6th rioters who, not to get political, but I've seen, obviously, because we're in an election year, and that comes up a lot. And journalists are going out and they're talking to these people who are currently in jail, and they keep being very specific about how they regret what's happened to their families, but they won't say that they regret the actual act of, of doing it, and of doing what they were sentenced for. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't they stop short of apologizing for that. So that's noticeable. Here they avoid the conversation altogether. You know what I'm saying? Like the filmmaker is very much taking a voyeuristic look, very hands off, not really, just kind of letting. They have a lot of times where they sit down with like the leader of the program and they talk through their feelings and emotions, and they learn, and they talk with each other and work out their emotions and stuff. And it's not really filmmaker led. And you could say that's a choice, but at the same time, I feel like the choice was made to support the program and to let people know this is a thing that's being done. Sort of like what's really interesting about Sing Sing is that the program is real. Like there's an actual group of people who actually meet at the Sing Sing prison and put on theater, which is what inspired the movie, which is why some people in the movie are alumni of that program. There are actually people who were in jail in Sing Sing and did theater, which is why the film has resonated with so many people, because they're like, wow, damn. First of all, the topic is crazy, when you think about it, and then you're like, wow, and to put these people out there, and then the fact that they came back and they're this fucking good, Oscar nominations. So like that's the conversation for Sing Sing. So for Daughters, they're basically trying to do the same thing. They're trying to say, look at this father-daughter program, and probably they could expand it, and they would like to expand it, but they want to show how effective it is. And I noticed at the end there's a statement where it says like 95% of the fathers who participate in the program have never returned to jail. And I thought it was an interesting statistic because they also say that the program's only been running for 12 years. And just within the context of the movie, there's a guy that gets a sentence that's longer than the existence of the program. So I'm assuming that this isn't year one of the program, and then they waited 12 years to release the movie. So my question is, how many people over the last 12 years got sentences that continue to still have them behind bars, to where they actually cannot leave to repeat a crime and then go back into bars? So I want to know what the statistic is, what a real statistic is, not the statistic that makes you go, wow, this program is great and we should donate more money to it. I mean, I want to do that anyway, but like I said, I think this is an important film that people need to watch, because I think if it changes the lives of the people involved, it's important. Even if it doesn't work for everybody, it's like, this doesn't really, there isn't like a negative side to doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't think of even if like 50% of them are back, the 50% of them are not. And if this is also somehow improving the lives of the children, if this could even be expanded to allow people to see sons, you know what I'm saying? Like to connect to just parenting, you know what I'm saying? To allow people to still have that relationship with their kids, and support, and to help support them and find ways of getting kids to parents, so that way, you could stop a lot of people from following in footsteps, so to speak. And I mean, there's so much here that you can take away from it. And I fully think that the program is great and amazing, and what it's doing and connecting. And these kids they're young and they don't fully comprehend and understand when they're like 5 and they're like, where did dad go? So I get the desire and the want to do that, but as a documentarian, I think you have still sort of that, well, I need to be honest. I think probably in a documentary that did it really well, which highlighted something that needed to be highlighted, but also kind of pointed out that some people are assholes, is Murderball. Uh, I right now we're sitting here looking at the Paralympics, going, "Wow, that's a cool sport. Look at that!" And they've got women playing Murderball now, and I know they try to. They, it's called something else now. It's like uh, I can't remember. They came up with a less like aggressive name for it, but that just goes to show you, it's like, they downplay it, right? But this person came out with Murder Ball, like they're like, that's what they call it. That's what these people call it, and it goes into these rivalries, and the characters, they didn't present the people in wheelchairs as all being like delightful human beings that like needed a cuddle. They represented them as they were, and that's great, and that is exactly how you should be doing it. So that's a sort of how I would say you can both show people something that they don't know exists and advocate for it, and then also maintain the honesty, and maintain that level. I think Daughters is so concerned with making sure that people support the program by the end of the film that it skips a couple things. But I also still really believe that people should watch Daughters. So I think there's a lot here to gain from it, and maybe it'll change some hearts and minds, and people will start paying more attention to things like this, because I think so frequently we're just like, yeah, fuck it. They did that to themselves. It's like a lot of people didn't. I mean, there's like a pretty high statistic about the amount of people behind bars that are innocent. And if you were that person, I think you'd probably be like, can we try to make this less shitty? Like I'd like to not die of heat exhaustion while also being innocent in prison, like, um, yeah. So like there are things that we could be doing better. Like one of the parents is taken to a facility where he has no contact. They can't go visit him. And I'm like, so you set up this excellent program, then we sent this dad away. There's not really like an explanation for it either. It's just like, yeah, he's at a prison where nobody can visit him, and he gets only occasionally a 10-minute phone call. And it's like, is he in hell? Like where is this place? And why is there such a wild difference in prison culture in America? That's another question where I was like, can the documentarian reveal like what is this? Because I want to be outraged with you. Like I want to be outraged that dad is there, and that the whole point of this was like to set up a path for the father to continue to communicate with the daughter, and that's not happening. So the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like bring me in. Like let's go on this ride together. Chances are the people who are watching Daughters are not necessarily the people whose lives would be directly changed by Daughters, but it's the kind of people who could get behind Daughters and turn it into a social revolution. I don't think anybody who watched The Cove were actually like people who were like, I'm thinking about killing some dolphins, but damn, I saw The Cove, so I'm not going to do it now. Like you're reaching people who will get on YouTube like me and then be angry and then say things and push a narrative. And that's what you're hoping for. So, yeah. Anyway, the audio description here, International Digitone, I really liked it. It's documentaries they're a bitch to get done, because a lot of times they're talking head documentaries and people are talking so much that you can't get any audio description in. This is like more voyeuristic, where the filmmaker is less involved, and it's just kind of like recording what's happening and putting that together. And people are talking to the camera, but they're doing it sort of in like realistic situations, not in like man in chair situations, but more like, sitting on their bed in their bedroom going like, oh my God, I miss my dad. There's an adorable little 5-year-old girl here. I think she's 5, maybe she's 4. She sounds so small. She could be 3. She could be 2. She's so tiny, and it's like every time she was talking, I was like, oh my god, no wonder she's getting so much screen time. This girl is like, how you just get so angry. Like you're like, who took her father away? Where is bring her back and bring the man. This poor little girl. It's when you get that like really squeaky voice, and she's so empathetic, and I fucking love that girl. Anyway, um, yes, audio description was great. It did a great job of character description, pointing out the fact that one of the harsh statistics we know is largely this affects Black people, and disproportionately so. And it's again, we really should pay more attention to this, but it's a topic that like nobody wants to talk about. But I think it's great that we have movies like Daughters and Sing Sing that are coming out this year, and it's like, let's fucking talk about it. Let's figure out um, better ways to do this and why our country has more people incarcerated than some populations of other countries. But that's not, there's just little things. But yes, the, the prison population is of our country is higher than like many of our states, the entire state populations. Anyway, weird statistics, like when you're just like, what? Yeah. So I think we lead the world in the amount of incarcerated people in jail. It's a weird statistic to be like, yeah, we have the most people in jail. Congratulations. It's like we don't even have the highest population in the country, in the world. Why do we have the most? What have we done? Anyway, I'm gonna move on now, but I'm having a real hard time. This is like the multiple time I keep talking for like an hour about fucking prisons and bullshit. And I love Daughters. I'm gonna ding it a little bit because I do think the documentarian could have been a documentarian a little bit more. And feel free to take off the gloves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay. You can show us some of the dirt, so to speak. Uh, People will still go on the ride with you. I don't think there are people who are going to be like, no, he did what? He stole a car? I can't. You know what I'm saying? I literally, if that was my car, it's like, I don't think people are doing that. So, yeah, people fuck up in life, and then they have an opportunity to reflect on that and regret and remorse, and that's what you're watching. Is you're watching somebody who did something and they fucked up, and they're having to deal with that. And but the unintended consequence of this is this: now there's this little 5-year-old girl who's sitting there, and they're like, my dad is not here, and I need my dad. So it's this whole circle thing. It comes full circle, but check out Daughters. It's on Netflix. Might get an Oscar nomination. I hate to predict documentaries because the documentary branch of the Oscars is so weird, so weird. They rarely ever go for populist documentaries. So if people like this too much, they probably won't vote for it. So, but it does kind of go on brand with Sing Sing. But Sing Sing is having it's struggling. People are like, what is up with the release pattern for this movie? So, um, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like at some point everybody's just gonna get Sing Sing in the mail as a DVD, just like in the country. A24 just gonna send everybody the movie and just be like, see it. There's so many opportunities people have had to see Sing Sing for free if it happens to be in your city. It's just anyway. They just want you to see it. So please watch our movie. Um, I'm gonna give Daughters an A-. I still think it probably it's going to end up being one of the best documentaries of the year, but for reasons that the content, you know what I'm saying, like you found the right content, but I do think the filmmakers could have done a little bit more. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.